Welcome back to the CFL National Combine presented by New Era. Marshall Ferguson and I coming back at you now with the 40, which is the marquee event, I would say, one of the marquee events of the Combine. And this is all about explosive speed, Marshall. This is all about how guys move, how powerful they are, and just frankly, their flat-out speed. It's one of the most exciting things to watch because it's kind of the most measurable.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. And the thing that is unique about the 40-yard dash 40 to me is that we don't just get the 40-yard dash time. We get the 10 and the 20-yard splits because the sports fusion ability of the technology to be able to get exact splits of when they cross that 10 and 20 and 40-yard mark, that tells you a story. And again, you might have to be a bit of a numbers nerd to enjoy that stuff. I love it.
Of course you do.
Because it really does tell a story that when somebody bursts out of the blocks, if you're a running back, a linebacker, how fast can you get up to speed? Then between the 10 and the 20, to me, that's kind of your acceleration zone, which tells me how much speed can you pick up. And then that long speed is actually the 40 yards. So the offensive and defensive linemen have already run theirs. They don't need the long speed. They need the 10-yard burst. The receivers, the DBs, they need all three facets. They need the quick burst, they need the acceleration, and they need the long speed, and that's what's going to make this so much fun to watch today.
All right, before we get to this, here's a quick video to get you guys all prepped and primed on the 40-yard dash.
In football, speed kills. Whether it's a receiver beating his man deep or a linebacker dropping back into coverage. Every team is looking for it, and the 40-yard dash is where you'll find it. Scouts are looking to see how fast players get up to top speed and how long they can maintain it. A prospect's 40 time can affect their draft stock, as the 40-yard dash always has the most eyes on it as scouts look to see if these prospects have the speed for the next level.
All right, we're going to check in with Davis, who's got Jim Barker standing by. Hey, guys.
There we go, Kelly. Can you hear me?
We should have Davis and Jim Barker standing by. Just give us one moment.
Well, Jim Barker spent so much time in the media in the last year. I think does he want to talk anymore?
Right.
I don't know. No, he's
in fresh tie cap.
Yeah, I was going to say he's got some black and gold on now, a little bit different. A little bit different, bit of a shake-up for him for sure. But I had a chance to talk with Jim Barker the night that Hamilton was announced as being the Grey Cup host. And he's very excited to be in Hamilton. I asked him, how was the media? He goes, I'm just happy to be back in football. Like, I love breaking down rosters and building something and all of that. So he's certainly got a bit of a change of pace.
All right, we should have Davis and Jim Barker standing by now. Hey, guys.
You do have Davis and joined by Jim Barker, new member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great, Davis.
There's a lot of positions, Jim. You've been an evaluator in this league a long time. There's a lot of positions that can come in and play on day one. You see those positions usually drafted in the first 2 rounds. What positions are those that can play in day one in the CFL?
Well, all of it depends on what a club's philosophy is. If you're trying to eventually get to 5 Canadian offensive linemen, interior offensive linemen, guards and centers. You see last year Darius Sirocco played very well for Hamilton. You see interior defensive linemen also being able to step in. Jake Thomas is playing very well for Winnipeg, and there's players every year. We have Ted Laurent, obviously, and those positions are traditionally what you call the traditional Canadian positions. I mean, you were the last boundary corner I can remember in the league. Made a lot of money because you could do something that there aren't a whole lot of guys out there that can play that boundary corner where you have that kind of pressure. So, there's just different things that Canadian players fit into. Most teams will play with 5 wideouts and at least 1, 2, and like in Winnipeg's case this year, they have ability to potentially play 3.
So tell me, what is it about? Because we see that it's guards, tackles, center on both sides of the ball, being guys who can sometimes play early in their career. What makes those positions, in particular, positions that are easier than maybe an outside guy like a boundary corner, a Sam linebacker, a slot back? So what's the reason?
It's a little bit more because they're playing in a box. They're playing in a short area. So they don't have the athleticism to play tackle in the CFL is difficult. They're a yard off the ball, and you got these guys making a ton of money that are rushing the passer off the edge, and And it's tough to find guys that can do that, Americans or Canadians. So when you cut the number down, that makes it tough. But the inside positions are much easier. Not that they're easy, but they're much easier in that they're in a box. And so now if you get guys, the one advantage Canadians have, especially on the offensive line, is they've blocked that guy off the line of scrimmage. And that's a different thing than what the Americans do, where the guy's right on his nose. So I think that's why you see more interior guys playing.
Space causes problems. Thanks for your time. Jim Barker, back to you guys.
Thank you, Davis. All right, we are getting ready for the global players to kick off the 40 here.
Yes, it is going to be an interesting group, 18 of them in total that are here, of course. We got Max Zimmerman, who's a big body from Germany. Also seen Alejandro Vergani, who is an offensive lineman from Italy. He has already completed his 40-yard, but there's some big, long, lean bodies. Benjamin Plouffe from France comes to mind in that one. And then also being able to look at some of the other big bodies that are here from overseas and CFL 2.0 movement. They're an interesting group, and I can't wait to see what they bring to the table in the 40-yard dash from some of these kind of sleeker positions.
Well, there are 18 global players here,
Yeah.
Marshall, and I think a lot of scouts and GMs really wanted to see these guys in person. You can only take so much from film. You need to see them. You need to see them jumping, you need to see them running, and most importantly, you need to see them playing, which is what you'll see coming up later this afternoon when these guys get a chance to strap the pads on, go one-on-one, which is going to be really enlightening, I think, for all scouts and GMs. But we're going to start now with the 40, so we will take a look at our first global player here who's getting ready.
We get a receiver from Finland to kick things off, as there are a bunch of receivers in this global group. In fact, there are actually 6 of them, so a third of the international global players, I should say, that have been invited are receivers.
Time is 4.73. 4.73.
That's a time of 4.73.
That's a good time. That's a good time.
He looks satisfied. Look at the smile. He's like, yeah.
Well, I think part of the smile too is that this global group have bonded throughout the weekend, and whether it's just the receivers in the global side or what, they've come together and kind of embraced the fact that they're in this together, and it's very much kind of that community feel that you get from being around the hotel and around the combine through the meals so far this weekend. So yeah, the round of applause for 4.73. Not surprised by that.
This is Jordan Bua from Italy.
Time is 4.68. 4.68.
With a time of 4.68.
So right away we're getting
Next up,
some
we have
some
number
high
13,
4.6s, low 4.7s
wide receiver,
off the
Denmark.
bat. And again, what's going to be interesting to me, Brody, is seeing how these numbers stack up against what we typically see at the CFL Combine from the Nationals, and specifically from the national group of receivers that are in this draft, because there are a bunch of speed demons.
Frederick Nielsen, who's out of Denmark but plays in the GFL out of the German
Time
Football
is
League.
4.96. 4.96.
So 4.96 for him. Little dip at the line too. Little Usain Bolt there, dipping his way through. Now this is an interesting one for me. I hope that Benjamin Plouffe from France runs quickly here, because I've been intrigued by his body type throughout the weekend. I think people remember being able to see Malcolm Carter a couple of years ago, that tall, lean, lanky style of body.
Played with the McGill Redmen this
Time
year.
is 4.89. 4.89.
So a 4.89 for Benjamin Plouffe, shakes his head at that, not real happy. But the thing that I see, and I wonder if scouts will see this as well, is
Hendrik Schwartz,
he
wide
doesn't
receiver, Germany.
run even close to his capability yet. Like, I feel like if you put him in a proper training program and allow him to really open up his hips with that length, he would run a much faster time.
This is Hendrik Schwartz from Germany.
Time is 4.86.
He's got a time of
4.86.
4.85.
From the Marburg Mercenaries. How about that for a team name?
Next up, number
I'm into it.
16,
From Marburg, Germany.
This is one of my favorite parts about our global players, is hearing about the
The
team
team
names.
names.
Oh,
I
they're
agree.
just the best. Definitely continue to watch this, but if you want to open another tab and also explore some of these team names, we'd be open to that.
We got a lot
Please
of-
comment below.
We got a lot of Potsdam Royals
Yeah.
kicking around
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
Helsinki Roosters.
Love
I mean,
it.
We got it all for
The
you.
Unicorns, my personal favorite. So good.
Time is 4:75. 4:75.
4.75 right there for Max Zimmerman, who is a Potsdam Royal out of
Now
Berlin,
number
Germany.
17, Sonny Weishaupt, quarterback.
And this is the lone quarterback invited from the global group. High school in Thomasville, Georgia. Played at NAIA Waldorf University in Forest City, Iowa.
Time is 5:22. 5:22.
And a 5.22 for Sonny Weishaupt.
Next
He
up,
makes his
number
way to
18.
the national combine. I'm really interested to see what his arm looks like
Running back
coming up
France.
later on today. Also, fun fact on Sonny, sports science and philosophy is what he's working on right now. He's crafting a thesis talking about strength programs for throwing.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's actually
That's very
studying what he is working on and trying to achieve his dream of being a professional football player. But hey, if you can use your academics to study something you want to do in real life, power to you.
Time is 4:59. 4:59.
4.59 for Robo. As Esnel Robo sets the low bar right now. First running back to go and the only global player that is a running back. We got one quarterback from the global group and one running back. And Esnel Robo looks like somebody he looks like Tyrell Sutton. He looks like
He's
somebody.
very compact. He's got
Yeah.
that type of build. Yeah, I was actually looking at him yesterday, interested to see how he performs today with the pads on.
But I feel like you could put him on a roster right now and give him 30 carries in a year, spot duty here and there, and he would just run hard for you. He's not very complicated.
Time is 4:93.
This is 4.93 for number 71.
They're working over on the defensive side, moving into the linebackers, as that was Roni Salonen
Linebacker
from
Germany.
Espoo, Finland. And now we move on to Theodric Hansen from the Potsdam Royals as well, by way of Germany. Blow the whistle a little quick coming out of the gates. So for people that aren't used to watching the 40-yard dash, you see the instruction that's going on there to Theodric Hansen instruction. He just needs to be able to hold it for a 2 count once he gets set in his stance. If your arm waves backwards and then kind of wave it forwards too quickly, if you're not holding, then you're going to end up getting blown dead. They want to keep it as standardized as possible so that everything stays the same and they can actually read.
Time is 4:94. 4:94.
4.94 for Theodric
Now we
Hansen,
have
so it
number
was worth the
73,
wait
Max
for him
Rouillère,
to be able to
linebacker France.
run a second time that time and get a little bit smoother.
That's a false start for Maxime Rouillet from France.
So the last global runner in Maxime Rouillet. There's Maxime Rouillet from McGill.
Time is 4:96. 4:96. All right, we're back to the top.
So
Number
4.96
11.
there for Maxime Rouillet, and get an opportunity to see the global group round out their 40s.
There will be a second round for all these guys. They get another opportunity here. So we're back to number 11 out of Finland, the wide receiver.
Yep. Kimi Lanema.
Time is 4:75. 4:75.
That was 4.75. As in the background here, we also
Now we
got
have number 12, Jordan Bua.
some of the running backs and linebackers of the national group working their way through the broad jump and making some noise. We show you the 40-yard dash, but this place is full. Testing happening all over the place. As we get set for the second 40-yard run now for Jordan Bua, playing at Saddleback College, California, but out of Rome, Italy.
Time is 4:74. 4:74.
4.74 for Jordan Bua. Bit of a shrug. Kind of saw it coming. It's funny with these 40-yard dashes.
Now we have number
What
13,
you believe your time
Frederick
kicks in.
Nielsen.
Sometimes the time what you felt, and sometimes it just doesn't.
Time is 4:98. 4:98.
Right there for Frederick
Next
Nielsen.
up, number
out of
14,
Denmark.
Benjamin Ploug.
Frederick Nielsen, actually an interesting story, had leukemia at age 4. Age 4, and here he is in the National Combine with an
Time
opportunity
is
to show it as
4:89.
he runs
4:89.
sub-5. Benjamin Ploug, my guy out of France,
Next, number
with a
15,
4.89.
Hendrik Schwartz. .490. Time is 4:90.
4.90 here for Hendrik Schwartz,
Number 16, Max
our
Zimmerman.
Marburg mercenary of the day. As Max Zimmerman digs in to run his final 40 of the 2019 National Combine, brought to you by New Era.
Time is 4:73. 4:73.
This is a 4.73 for number
Now at number 17,
Max
Max
Zimmerman out of
Sonny
Germany.
Weishaupt.
So a 4.73, 2/100 is a little bit better than his first, as he ran a 4.75. Now we get our sports philosophy and body mechanics major.
Time is 5:23. 5:23.
5.23.
Yeah, ran a 5.22 the first time through for Sonny
Next
Weishaupt.
up,
So,
number 18, Asnel Robo.
and here's Robo, and I think this is the one that people are interested right now. Ran a 4.59 first time through. My French Tyrell Sutton. That's what I'm going with, I think, for the remainder of this combine.
Time is 4:64. 4:64. 4:64. Now we're to number 71, Ronnie Solomon. Time is 490, 490.
Well, 490 there as we move on to the linebacking group here, completing their second run as Roni Salonen
Now in
from
number
Espoo,
72,
Finland
Teatric Hansen.
goes 490. Teatric Hansen ready to pop up. A 494 for Theodric Hansen in his first run through the 40.
Time is 488, 488.
Yeah, happy about that. 488, so he dropped 6 100ths off his 40-yard dash time.
Now we have number 73, Max Riviere.
And Maxime Royer should be the final global player going through the second run here at the 40-yard. And he'll get sent back to the start just like he was earlier on.
System did not get that time. You got to use your hand times.
They are grabbing a hand time for that. They weren't able to get that electronically, so we will keep you posted if we're able to get that online here.
The funniest, Maxime Royer just finishing as Maxime Royer gets an opportunity maybe to go back and run again here as they'll reset the system. And again, it's the Sport Fusion stuff that they use here at the CFL National Combine and through all the regionals as well is pretty amazing. Fusion Sport, the stuff that they've been able to create that allows you to track the athleticism of these guys is pretty awesome. So he will get another chance, seems like, to run.
We're going to join him as he gets prepped for his run. A full start. I don't know how you reset and refocus for that. You'll see here
Dig in, Maxime.
The setup for this is so precise. You'll watch them set their feet.
I find it interesting that he double sets. Everybody's got their own way of setting up in the 40-yard dash. I'm sure that we'll see some creative stances when you get to the national receiver group and DBs that I expect to be super fast in just a little bit. I think Maxime Royer was so fast the first time the system couldn't catch him.
That's a 499 for Maxime. So he got that one in the books, which is good. All right, so that concludes the global players for our 40s, for the global 40s. Yep. Can you get a sense so far of what those numbers are like?
Yeah, I think if you look comparable and you're trying to say where do they stack up in certain situations, I think if you look at Asnel Robo, the running back from Montreal, 4.59, he wins it in terms of the 40-yard dash for the global players. He looks like a legitimate player, so I mean that number matches up with what you would expect.
All right, we're going to check in with Davis, who's got Ed Hervey from the BC Lions. Hey, guys.
It's only fitting, since we're starting the 40-yard dash here, to be around probably the fastest guy in my 13-year career I've ever had to line up against. Ed Hervey. How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Question for you first and foremost. There's benchmarks for times, these guys. Is there a certain number, time, that just a position a guy can't play if he doesn't run a fast enough time?
We're talking about wide receiver. To be honest with you, like, because we have the waggle, which gives guys running start, you know, some guys can play faster than the time suggests. But when we're going through our numbers and stuff, 4.6 usually is that number where the film better show production. I'd rather not go past 4.55 if I can for a wide receiver, because again, we want to have guys that can go out there and be explosive, make plays. Now, anything faster than that, you know, it opens our eyes and we're looking forward to it. But 4.65, 4.7, all that stuff, it starts to get a little sketchy.
I guess when you look at veterans that have already been around the league, you kind of throw that number out, guys who have proven themselves. One guy that you got this year in the offseason, I'm sure you're happy to have, who's probably not a huge tester, Lamar Durant. How happy are you to have a receiver like Lamar? What's he going to bring to your team?
Well, we're excited to have Lamar on our football team for several reasons. Obviously, he brings size, he brings experience, he brings an ability to run after the catch, and we believe that his best playing days are ahead of him. We're going to get the ball in his hands as much as possible. We like his physicality with the football, and again, on offense, we want to be more than just a vertical team trying to throw the ball down the field. We want possessions, we want to maintain the football, and we believe that adding Lamar to our mix makes him more difficult to bring down, and it makes ball carriers aware of him.
I noticed two things on your offense. Well, first, you got a quarterback, and then you got Suk Chung and Lamar Durant, two guys that are pretty physical, pretty tough, just like their GM was. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Davis. All right, we want to check in with Marshall's 3 to watch.
Yeah, I
Who
got
you
a couple
got?
of names here that I want to point out for you. The first for you is Keon Julian Grant from St. FX. I think he's a little bit overshadowed by some of the other receivers like Chris Osikusi or even Braden Dickey from New Mexico. But I think Keon Julian Grant is not that far behind any of those big names that we see. Chris Osikusi, by the way, came out, threw up 19 reps on the bench yesterday. He weighed in. He's big. He's strong. He looks like the type of body that you'd like to be able to have on your roster. I think he's probably alongside Jay Dearborn, a DB from Carleton, and maybe a linebacker or two, the biggest riser of the weekend thus far. And then the last one I got for you here, Malcolm Lee. He's got the family lineage. His dad was the top pick in 1988. He's also got the brother Jamal Lee that was selected by the BC Lions. So he's one to watch for you here in the 40.
Well, we've got our next group of runners ready to go. Let's get ready for them over here.
Also
All right,
just
Marshall.
got word that Michael O'Connor, that you see there wearing the big 0-2, we're going to be talking a lot about him, the Canadian quarterbacking. I know everybody interested in that. Unfortunately, and I'm hurt by this, Michael O'Connor will not be running, which is unfortunate because I was really hoping to be able to see what type of number he would post, because it gives you a picture of the athleticism. And the question is always, as part of the conversation with Canadian quarterbacks, is he athletic enough to be able to actually access the arm strength and the understanding of the 12-man game in the wide field?
This is Chris Merchant from Western University.
A good athlete. He is a good athlete on the field. Might not post a great number here, but he does everything he needs to on the field, and I think he's got as good a chance as Michael O'Connor to make a roster.
490.
A time of 4.90 for Chris Merchant, the quarterback.
And it's an interesting dynamic for Chris Merchant throughout the weekend because there's so much discussion about Michael O'Connor from UBC as being the next guy, but I think Chris Merchant is a hell of a quarterback. And I was there on the sidelines for the Yates Cup in 2018 this past year, where he was 19 of 22 for 300-plus yards and led Western to a blowout win over Guelph. So he's a really interesting prospect. So is this guy, Jesrin Antwi.
We're moving on to running backs.
Yeah, we'll get right into it. I thought
Yes.
Jesrin Antwi was incredibly talented last year at the East-West Bowl. I thought he was arguably the best running back there alongside Manitoba's Jamel Lyles. And
Now-
he probably didn't need to go through the Western Regional, but he did. He earned his way via his testing, and here he is on the big show.
Time is 5:00.
Time of 5.00.
And he doesn't
is
agree with the time.
shocked.
Yeah, he doesn't agree with the time at all. You can tell look on the face he's saying, did you guys just start the clock plate on me? Or?
He'll be looking for that second run, certainly.
Yeah, no doubt. Now this is an interesting guy, Cedric Joseph, running back for the Western Mustangs. He's a physical blocker. He catches the ball pretty comfortably. He's kind of that classic Greg Marshall style Mustangs offense between the tackles. Does he have the top end speed? It's a question we get to answer here at the National Combine presented by New Era.
Time is 491.
Time of 4.91 for Cedric Joseph out of Western.
And I'll say this, not a
Next we
terrible
have number
time,
32.
but you guarantee that Cedric Joseph does not want to get beat by his quarterback. And he did already. Chris Merchant ran a 4.90. That's
Absolutely.
a 4.91. So, hey, shout out to the quarterbacks. I mean, I got no problem with that personally, but I'm sure Cedric Joseph would like to post a bit number. Now, this one I think could be really interesting. 2018 East-West Bowl MVP Jamel Lyles actually had a pair of gloves that Andrew Harris tossed to him in the stands when he was a kid growing up in
I love
BC,
that
when Andrew
story.
Harris was still with the BC Lions. Kept them, used them, wore them out to the point where they were completely void of any ability to catch the football. And now here he is with an opportunity to join the Canadian Football League and play against Andrew Harris.
Time is 4:68.
Lyles with a time of 4:68. He gives a little,
Yeah.
seems satisfied with
Yeah,
that.
and he
number
to me comes
33.
off as somebody who is just constantly trying to work on his craft. Like he's never happy with himself, and he always wants to be better. I respect that about him. He was top 4 in every major rushing stat this past season in U Sports. So he's a production guy for sure. But that's a good number. As we move on to Gabriel Poulin from Sherbrooke, by way of Montreal, Quebec, workhorse for the Varior. Almost 1,300 yards on 250 carries and 7 touchdowns in the last 4 years with Sherbrooke.
As you guys watch these guys set up for their 40, you have to look at the amount of precision. I know we talked about this earlier, but it's incredible how careful they are getting into position.
Time is 4:89. 4:89.
That is a 4.89.
So 4.89
Poulin.
is a good number for a guy of his size and weight.
Now we're to
But I'll
number
say this, you know what the
40,
most
Noah
important number I think
Robinson,
is with Gabriel Poulin? 0. Why is 0 important? It's the number of fumbles he had in 2018. He is safe and steady and smart.
We're now starting with the linebacker group. We've got number 40, Noah Robinson out of Missouri.
Was born in Barrie, Ontario, grew up in Worcester, Mass. Spent a little bit of time on special teams with the Memphis Tigers. I think of him as being kind of like a Paul Kozacek that we saw go through the regional combine last year to get drafted by Montreal, and Sean Harrington as well, special teamer for the Argonauts now, who came out from Michigan State last year.
How does he run with his hair not in a ponytail?
He's got the hockey hair. His brother actually played some hockey out there in
Time is
Massachusetts.
5:07. 5:07.
5.07 for Noah Robinson.
Next up, number 41, Fraser Sopik, linebacker, Western.
Now, this is a fun one for me, and we'll be talking about this guy, I think, a bunch throughout the day because he's such an interesting evaluation. He's the President's Trophy Award winner last season as the top defensive player in U Sports. Fraser Sopik, a little bit undersized, benched well yesterday, better than I thought he would. He flies to the football. I think that should show here in the 40. And he runs in the 40 with his head
Time
back
is 4:79. 4:79.
the same way that he does on the field. So 4.79 right there, Brody, for Fraser
Now we have
Sopik.
number
And
44,
he's
Gordon White,
such an interesting
linebacker,
evaluation, like I say, because if you just watch him play, you love him. And it's one of those where like the combine might not mean a whole lot to Fraser Sopik, but if he helps himself with some numbers today, then he can bump his draft stock up.
This is Gordon White out of St. FX from Toronto.
Yeah, St. Michael's College just down the road here. Part of the Kerry Blues. Alongside Keon Julian Grant, a couple of guys at St. FX and Gary Waterman were able to get out of St. Michael's College as he got here via the Eastern Regional Combine.
Time is 5:09. 5:09.
At the time of 5.09.
And the thing that I find interesting about Gordon White is you see the 5.09 there, is you think, oof, man, that was kind of slow, and he doesn't seem very happy with it. Again, game film, game film, game film. If you watch him in between the tackles playing in the AUS, he's plenty fast enough to be able to get to the football. As we reset back to the top for the second round of runs here at the 2019 Combine.
Yeah, we're back to quarterbacks. This is Chris Merchant from Western. Obviously, all of these guys looking to improve their first time.
No doubt.
Chris took an extra amount of time, I would say, first round getting all set up, and he does again. You have to get into that space, right, Marsh?
Yep.
Time is 4:86. 4:86.
Chris has a time of 4.86.
All right, number 3.
We're skipping over Michael O'Connor, who is not running the 40, and we're going into running backs.
Say this just to put a bow on Chris Merchant running that 4.86. That is just 1/100th of a second slower than Brad Sinopoli and Noah Picton were when they were here at the CFL National Combine. So a good performance, I think, from Chris. He'll be happy with that number. Again, 40 for a quarterback doesn't mean the world, but he's more than athletic enough, as shown on his game film, to be able to get around the field smoothly. A little rock in the step. The first rock back we've seen, Brody, at the National Combine.
It's got to be so frustrating when you put so much time and effort.
But the thing is that the reason that they have to standardize this and keep it as similar as possible for everybody, as you see it getting explained there to Jezrin Antwi from the University of Calgary, is that guys are coached on how to steal milliseconds.
Right, of course.
They're trying to get an advantage. So whether that's, your hand obviously has to be behind the line, but you can lean your whole torso over the line. Right? So you're coached, okay, lean this way, put your hand here, and don't rock out, because it's the same thing as the vertical jump, right? If you swing down and you bounce off your feet, it's extra force going the other direction. So that's why they blow the whistle here and bring Jezrin Antwi back to the line. His first run was 5 seconds flat, and he wasn't very happy with it.
Not happy with that.
See if he can beat it here.
Time is 4:75. 4:75.
Time of 4:75.
Wow, that is significantly better. You can see the frustration, happy clap by Jezrin Antwi at the end there. 4.75 for Jezrin Antwi. That will help him, and that will be that's more in the area of what I thought we were going to end up getting for him.
This is Cedric Joseph out of Western University.
You got to beat your quarterback, Cedric. I'm sorry.
You got it.
You got to beat your quarterback. 4.90 is what Chris Merchant ran his first time. 4.86 was the second. And he still can't beat the 4.86 that was set by his quarterback, Chris Merchant, just a couple of minutes ago. But maybe that just means that the backfield at Western was super fast and we didn't realize both together. I don't know. Is Cedric
or maybe
Joseph,
Chris Merchant is just really fast,
I was gonna say,
we should be a little kinder.
Is Cedric Joseph slower than we thought, or is Chris Merchant faster? That's we'll never know.
We may need to get a word from them.
I'll hang up and listen. Okay. So Jamel Lyles set the 4.68 the first time through, leading the national running backs here at the 2019 National Scouting Combine.
Time is 4.64. 4.64.
4.64. He's got to be happy with that, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And the funny thing is about that, too, is when I watch him run the 40-yard dash, and this is where being a football player doesn't necessarily compare to running the 40-yard dash. When I watch him run his first 10 yards, you can tell Jamel Lyles is very well coached in his approach to the 40-yard dash. But when he's actually on the football field, he's not overthinking things. He's just running hard. And I think that's when you really see his true speed. You can see him thinking, okay, I got to put my arm here and drive my knee and do this. But that's not what football is, right? And so you get a chance to see some of his raw speed, but I think he's actually faster once you put shoulder pads and helmets on, which thankfully we'll get an opportunity to see coming up in a little bit.
Time is 4.93. 4.93.
That's a 4.93 for Gabriel Paulin from Sherbrooke.
So he'll stick with his 4.89 that he ran the first time through as his best performance of the day in the 40-yard dash. And off we go to the linebacking group with Noah Robinson.
Noah Robinson with a false start. He's going to walk back and get set up again.
I think the hair triggered the sensors early, maybe there.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but when he's all tilted over there and his hair is in his face, I'm distracted. So he must obviously know what works best for him, but my goodness, that would drive me crazy.
He looks like somebody who is ready to run down on kickoff right now.
Yes.
I just want CFL fans to envision your team, Noah Robinson, opening kickoff, 2019 CFL regular season. I'm going to guess he's wearing a jersey number somewhere in the 40s.
I can picture it now. Marsh, for scouts that are watching this, for this group particularly, for running backs, linebackers rather, are they focused on the splits or are they focused on the time? Where would their focus be for this group?
As a 5-1-1 there for Noah Robinson. Not real happy with it, seems like, but it's a great question, Brody, because I think the linebackers are an interesting one because linebackers are obviously required to contribute on special teams in the Canadian Football League as a national. You have somebody like Fraser Sopik here or Noah Robinson from Missouri. They want to see your burst. They're going to compare it to your broad jump number, lower body explosion, but they also want to see that long speed because you do have to get downfield and you do have to cover on special teams units as well. So I got to point out too, I don't know why I love this so much, but I love that Fraser Sopik runs in the 40 like he does on the field with his head pinned back, just going crazy.
5.80.
They called 5.80 and they corrected it to a 4.8 as Fraser was about to lose his mind if he ended up getting a 5.8, but yeah, he goes 4.8.
There was a correction. All good. You could hear an
Know what that
audible
was,
laugh
though?
from the crowd here.
We got Western Zone on the mic over there.
That's true.
I think he was playing a nice little trick on Fraser Sopik.
I don't think that's nice. And as a Western grad, I extra don't think that's nice.
Time 5:13, 5:13.
Time of 5:13 for Gordon White.
And this group is done.
And Davis Sanchez on the sidelines. Davis, what do you got for us?
Yeah, the 40-yard dash, surely the marquee event testing-wise. You can see the tension in some of these guys as they get through the 40-yard dash, tight jaws, necks. You see all that tension. My track coach once told me, act like you're lightly holding a nickel in your hand when you're running to try to stay relaxed. I'll pass that information on to some of these guys. I did speak to an evaluator right now that said he's looking at the times, obviously, but more important was the 10-yard splits, that get-off. As we talked about, that's real football speed, is that 10-yard get-off. So pay attention to these 10-yard splits and watch the explosion as these guys come out the box. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Davis. As we get a look here at the defensive backs getting set to run the 40-yard dash. Interested to see this group. Malcolm Lee specifically got a track background in high school. Well, he was the most intense warming up around here. Jamie Harry from the University of Ottawa should run well. And then the one that I think is rising up draft boards pretty quickly this weekend and really over the last week based on his regional combine performance that got him to the national show is Jade Dearborn out of Yarker, Ontario. Sydenham Golden Eagle, Limestone Grenadier, went to Holland College, was coached there by Kyle Quinlan, who people will remember as a quarterback that was at McMaster and, of course, at the National Scouting Combine himself. Jay Dearborn coming up in just a little bit, but up first in the defensive backs group, we have got ourselves,
Hakeem Johnson.
Who came here as well, another regional combine invitee, just like Jay Dearborn.
Hakeem Johnson out of Western University.
And he wasn't supposed to run. I think he was happy with his 40 time from the regional as he gets called for a false start.
Yeah, I had him down as not running, so he's changed his mind.
Yeah.
Why would a player do that, Marsh?
I think the competitive juices.
You think?
I do, yeah. I think
it's as simple as that.
Or it's his brother Shaq getting in his ear and saying, hey, dummy, get out there, put your cleats on and run. Because Shaq Johnson, we all remember being able to have a great 40 time when he was here at the Combine. It led to him having an opportunity to get drafted pretty high up by the BC Lions, and he's just recently re-signed in free agency as well. Shaq went 4th round to BC in 2016. And his brother Shaquille Johnson ran a 4.36. He ran a 4.36, his brother did, back in 2016 at the National Combine.
Time is 4:66. 4:66.
Time of 4.66 for Hakeem Johnson.
Which is a great number, but when you compare it to your brother.
Well,
but that's the difficult thing for he's going to constantly be looking at all the testing numbers, and his brother's going to hang it over his head. And go, I mean, hey, same track, University of Toronto, varsity bubble, crowd here, same lights, same testing system with Fusion Sport, and he'll hold it over his head. But no, 4.66 is a great number for him. And it's funny, he ran that 40 and it looked like he does on tape, where kind of slow out of the gates, but when he opens it up from that 20 to 40 range, he can really go.
This is Shamar Busby out of Southern Louisiana.
Smaller guy, cover guy.
Time is 4.68.
Got a good burst to
4.68.
himself. 4.68.
a-
Yeah, he looks much more natural, I think, Brody,
Next up, number
than
21.
Hakeem Johnson did.
Stavros
He looks like an athlete, but
He's frustrated with that time.
I mean, these guys that come up, I find, from the NCAA, and he is, I believe, a New Mexico Military Institute graduate, kind of the same path that was taken by Dondre Wright, who people will remember making his way through the National Combine a couple of years ago. These guys come up and they have a certain expectation because they're used to testing against their fellow NCAA teammates. And so he wants a higher number, but now we get UBC 4-year free safety, the Bakersfield Bandit. Stavros Katsatonis.
Time is 4.75. 4.75.
4.75, yeah.
Now we have number 22, Malcolm Lee, DB, UBC.
And this is the fun one. I think this could be a great time. Look how long Malcolm Lee is. I can't wait to watch him in the one-on-ones later, see if he gets hands on these receivers and works them over. He's a top prospect, Brody, but he's coming here to work. He wants to do every test, and I know he wants to post a great number here. He told me before he ran, when he was warming up, as he lines up with the hand, just crossing the line, but he told me when he was warming up, I walked over and said, hey, what do you want to run? He said 4.4 is the goal.
4.4 is the goal.
Yeah.
He's long and lanky. He's got his vert yesterday, Marsh, a 36.5.
Yeah, he is
not too
super-
shabby. One of the top verts of the day.
Super, super athletic. I'll say this as well. It's kind of like Usain Bolt, to use a sprinter comparison. Look how long he is.
Yeah.
Usain Bolt is slow out of the blocks, but watch here 20 to 40 yards when Malcolm Lee opens it up.
But his stance really compact there, if you could tell.
Time is 4.71. 4.71.
Slower than I thought
Time
he
of
would be.
4.71.
Yeah, you can see.
Next up,
He's
number
not sure about
23,
that.
Jamie
He'll run
Harry,
better the second
DB,
run.
Ottawa.
There's no doubt. And it's funny, if you actually look at the numbers of guys getting 2 runs, most of the time, the first number is slower because it's the bright lights and the weird situation of having, a couple hundred people watching you here inside the University of Toronto Varsity Dome.
This is Jamie Harry out of Ottawa.
Former Sajep receiver, transitioned to defensive back with the GGs.
Time is 4.84. 4.84.
Time of 4.84 for Harry.
And I don't think he's necessarily somebody who's going
Now we
to
have
test
number 24,
through the
Jacob
roof,
Dearborn,
but
DB,
he is going to
Carleton.
end up making some great plays in the one-on-ones. And here is, I think, the biggest riser of the weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing this. You see the jumping ability of Jay Dearborn. You just look at the frame. Like, he is rangy as they come.
He had the highest vert yesterday, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
42.
42 inches. He had a broad jump of 11 feet 1 inch at the regional combine, which set the record for a defensive back ever here at the CFL combine.
And very, very particular yesterday in getting prepared. He kept adjusting his shirt. He had to kind of be in the exact right feeling before he would jump.
Yeah.
And then he blew everyone away, and he's sort of done the same
Time is
thing here.
4.71.
Time of
4.71.
4.71 for Jacob.
I like him a lot. And I get the feeling that teams do as well. Like, you can just imagine him on special teams tomorrow on a CFL team with that big frame, working as a punt gunner and earning his way onto a roster. And then, you get a rolled ankle here or a shoulder injury there, and all of a sudden, you've got Jay Dearborn playing for, the Edmonton Eskimos as your field corner or your free safety, and he's still working on specials. So I think he's really, really helped himself in the last week and a half or so.
For Fala Exume out of Montreal.
Another regional combine invitee.
4.73. 4.73.
Time of 4.73.
I won't mention this as well about the regional combine call-ups. Is sometimes you have to earn your way through, and you feel like you didn't need to, as we get another University of Montreal defensive back here, and Jean-Sébastien Belial. But the idea of having to earn your way through, sometimes it's good for you. Sometimes it motivates you. But also, the regional combine invitees, in 2018, 6 of the 7 Ontario regional call-ups were actually drafted. So put that in
Time is
perspective. If you are
4.83.
called up,
4.83.
like J.S.
Okay, we're
Belial,
back to the
Time of
count, number 7,
4.83.
Hakeem
And
Johnson.
you've got a serious chance to be able to get drafted. And the names that people will know, because again, you're learning about these players if you're a casual fan. Maybe you follow a U Sports team, but not the whole league. Is Eric Mezzolira, 2nd round to Calgary. Jordan Beaulieu, remember from Western last year, went 3rd round to Edmonton. Paul Kozacuk, 6th round to Montreal. Harry McMaster, 7th round to Edmonton. And Jacob Furlot went 7th round to Winnipeg. So those guys all got in the league, all had an opportunity because they came from the regionals. Just like Hakeem Johnson.
Yep, this is Hakeem Johnson, the Western product.
4.66 the first time through.
We talked about him in his first run, but not expected to run, but here he is. So Hakeem Johnson getting ready for his 2nd run here.
Time is 4.63. 4.63.
Time of 4.63. He seems more satisfied with that, yeah.
I love
Brad
Fraser
seems more
Sopik.
satisfied with that.
I love Fraser Sopik, the ultimate teammate, coming over
Giving
and
them a pat on the back?
shoving Hakeem Johnson. Hey, attaboy.
Why not?
More like you expected.
Getting set up here is Shamar Busby from southeastern Louisiana, if I have that correct. Yes.
For a second, I thought he actually played in the same conference as Henderson State, where Dondre Wright came from. I was going to say, this is Dondre Wright. I thought, but it turns out they're in different conferences. So.
Time is 4.75. 4.75.
With a time of
So we
4.75
have number 21.
for Shamar
Stavros
Busby
Katsatonis.
of southeastern Louisiana.
So that won't help him necessarily because he is a bit of a smaller guy, a bit of a speed guy, a cover man. But again, you compare this 40-yard dash, does it show up when you get it onto the field and you have a receiver like Keon Julian Grant running his, fade routes in the one-on-ones coming up a little bit later on. Yeah, Stavros Katsatonis gets set, bursts out of the blocks.
Time 4.71. 4.71.
Katsatonis with a time of 4.71.
I like his background too. I think this is one of those things that's kind of underrated in Canadian sports culture. Is Katsatonis in high school was basketball, soccer, track and field, and hockey.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a wide range of things, and his athletic ability kind of running around at free safety shows off a little bit of everything.
You'll often see a tri-sport athlete, but very
Yeah,
rarely
you
will
don't
you
get
see
the four.
the quad.
I mean,
the
there's
four.
you're right. There's a lot of guys that do basketball in the football in the fall, basketball in the winter, maybe a spring sport as well. But I don't know where you fit hockey in there. I'm not sure.
Not
but
sure. No.
Stavros did. That's Malcolm Lee. Loads the cannon. You can hear the camera shutters running here inside the University of Toronto Dome.
Time is 4.66. 4.66.
Time of 4.66 for number 22, Malcolm Lee.
Yeah, that's better than his first one, so he'll be happy with that.
Jamie Harry.
Another UBC product. Nope, Ottawa.
Yeah, Jamie Harry.
Jamie Harry out of Ottawa. Number 23.
I think a 40-yard time would really help him here because I think he's kind of a special teams guy quickly. Because he's kind of uniquely physical once he has pads on. He's a really aggressive hitter.
Time 4.79. 4.79.
4.79 for
Next, we
Jamie
have number
Harry out of
24,
Ottawa.
Jacob Dearborn.
Jacob Dearborn out of Carleton. Someone you've been high on this weekend.
Yeah. He's earned every ounce of praise that anybody, including myself, has given him so far throughout the weekend because he's come from off the board. Again, when you're talking about somebody from Holland College like Kay Okafor, I mentioned earlier when we were talking with Orlando Steinauer, he's somebody who came from Holland College out there in Prince Edward Island and got himself to the Tiger Cats and has been in development with them and getting better each day, and that's kind of the dream for Jay Dearborn at this point. Just look at his stride.
4.69 for Jacob Dearborn. Yes, a long stride.
I love that he goes with the mid-high socks too, just to elongate the look of the legs. Be like, hey, scouts, see these things? Yeah, I'm rangy. Because as a free safety, which he's going to end up being in the Canadian Football League, I mean, he takes 3 steps and he covers the ground that I do with 10.
And he's got mad hops.
Yeah, I mean, he can burst. It's unique the way that he gets off the ground. And again, it's not as though he's 5'5" and jumping. Like, he's tall and long and can get up and runs a pretty good 40 time there. So continues to help himself for sure.
This is Kerfalla Exume out of Montreal, taking his second run of the day.
Time is 4.76. 4.76.
Time of 4.76 for him.
It was 4.73 first time through for Kerfalla Exume.
Last guy in this group, number 26, John Sebastian Belil.
And his teammate at the University of Montreal, J.S. Belil, will try to beat his 4.83 that he ran the first time through.
Time 4.79. 4.79.
Time of 4.79 for Jean-Sebastien.
We have about a 3-minute
And
break
that
before the
wraps the
wideouts.
DB group. We're going to send it
We're
over
gonna
to
run
Davis,
3
who has
minutes before the
got
wideouts.
Rick Campbell for an interview. Hey, guys.
Thanks, guys. Red Blacks joined by the Red Blacks head coach, Rick Campbell. There you go. Got it going. What do you think about the transition? We have a lot of guys here. U Sports might play halfback or safety or corner. Might be safety to the next level. How do you see a guy that can transition, or what does he need to do to transition?
Yeah, it takes a lot of smarts. I mean, as you know, you're a Canadian DB, but especially in the CFL, you got to be able to have good eyes and be able to read routes and do those type of things. So you kind of look for guys that have a knack for doing that, and then also have some toughness to them, and also be able to contribute on special teams.
Is there a size issue you look for if you're trying to find a guy that can transition? Does it need to be a certain size to play the free move from corner to free?
Not necessarily. I think it's more about being tough enough and being physical. So I think all these guys are big enough to handle it.
Are you big enough to handle it?
I hope so, sometimes.
Back to you guys.
We've got the wide receiver group coming up here next. Thanks, gentlemen, for that. Marshall, walk us through some of these guys. Anyone that jumps out, I know you're high on this group. You're fired up about these guys. Tell us why and who should we be watching?
I love this group.
You love it.
I do, and I love them because they're very good football players, but I also love them because I think as a group, they have great top end speed. Is somebody going to run better than Steven Turner? Is somebody going to be, a 4.36, a 4.39? I don't know. What I do know is they're very good players, and consistently I would expect them to run in and around 4.6, I think. Maybe reach to the 4.7s like the defensive backs group did. But I think the receivers in this group are actually faster as a whole than the defensive backs are, which we will see out later when they put the pads on and the helmets here. But Chris Osikusi, I think, if you've seen anything that we've put up on CFL.ca throughout the weekend, you see Chris there kind of down the low squat walk, getting his legs all set and his hips fired up. He is somebody that he's impressed me a lot in his approach, his mindset. I also talked to a scout yesterday who said that they actually interviewed him. They said, hey, your production, it dropped. You had 15 less catches this year than you did the previous season. Why? And the scout was waiting for him to go out and say, yeah, I blame my quarterback, my offensive coordinator, my coach. He said, no, that's on me. And the scout told me he loved that. And the scout actually said, damn it, he answered it right. He was waiting for him to trip over himself, but he didn't. So I really, really like this group. But really, Chris Osikusi is the name to watch for me. This is an interesting one, though, with Braden Dickey.
Braden Lenny's Dickey out of New Mexico off the line here.
A transfer from the University of Washington, big body.
I was going to say, he seems like a fairly big body.
Time is 4.75.
Time of 4.75.
4.75 at his size.
Next up,
is pretty
number
unique.
81, Curly
Seems
Gittens
happy with
Jr.,
that.
wide receiver.
No
Wilfred
doubt, he should be.
Laurier.
That's a really good time for him at 4.75.
Next up, we've got Curly Gittens Jr. out of Wilfrid Laurier. I had a chance to train with him, Marshall, when we were filming with Robbie Smith from Laurier, the same group of guys that all trained together. Got a chance to see how they work out. They do a lot of stuff with sleds, I was saying earlier. They load up a sled with a couple of weights, not dissimilar to how other guys train, but he'll come in a couple times a week just to train speed, and he was very fast that day.
You know why they put sleds on Robbie Smith and Curly Gittens Jr.? Because if they put a parachute on them, they'd rip it.
Time 4.62, 4.62.
Time of
Love
4.62
it.
for Curly
Next
Gittens
up, number
Jr.
82, Colton Hunchak, wide receiver, York.
Robbie Smith likes that wandering past our set here as he gives a nod of approval and goes back to doing his work on the side. But yeah, 4.62 for Curly. I mean, Curly's got every accolade that you could possibly imagine at this point. He just wants to play in the league. I talked to him the other day, and he's just excited about getting an opportunity to be a pro. And the scary thing maybe for people about Curly too is he believes he can get much better than he already is.
This here is Colton Hunchak from York. Just finishing up
Time
his 40 with a
4.69,
time of
4.69.
4.69.
Part of the York 4, the big recruiting
Next,
class
number
that
83, Keon Julian
they were able to
Grant,
get
wide
for the York
receiver,
Lions.
St. Francis Xavier.
a couple of years ago, joined by some other big names that you'll see around here through the Combine weekend. But Colton Hunchak was number 9 in the Canada Football Chat Top 100 rankings in 2015. So he's been a name that people have known for a long time and fairly productive based on the situation, I think, at York. But here is the St. Michael's College grad, St. FX, Keon Julian Grant. I got a chance to see him last year at the East-West Bowl.
He impressed you.
He did, yeah. Technically sound, a bit overshadowed, like I say, by Chris Osikusi and Curly Gittens, but that just speaks to how great this group is.
Time 4.49.
Time of
4.49.
4.49.
Overshadowed no more, Keon Julian Grant. He's not even smiling either. He knows he can run faster. Like
Not a
that
smile, not a reaction.
that look to me says I'm gonna run a 4.45 next time.
That to me is I'm going back to work. That's wild.
And he wasn't surprised either.
No.
It's always fun to follow that up, isn't it, Nicola?
Nicola Kalanick from York. Gonna try and beat that time.
Time 4.99. 4.99.
Time of 4.99. Oh, look at him.
Yeah, he knows.
Smirking.
He knows.
He's like, why is it after him?
He's got some York teammates out here standing off to the side as they watch live that kind of giggling, and he's like,
Oh, yeah.
the single finger.
This is Hunter Carl out of Calgary.
47 catches, 937 yards. Ranked second in U Sports this past year, 6 touchdowns as well. He's a really productive player, obviously, in a really good Calgary group.
A lot of eyes are going to be on him today, Marshall.
Yeah. Getting a business degree at the University of Calgary out of Okotoks, Alberta.
Time 4.71. 4.71.
Good time.
Time
for
of 4.71 for Hunter Carl.
Yeah, and again, he's not a burner, but he's better than just a possession guy or just a special teamer. I think if you look at like a Matt Coates that we all remember bouncing around the league a little bit from Hamilton to Winnipeg,
86.
I think he's
Guy
that type
Ross,
of player
wide
where
receiver,
maybe you get him 15 targets, 20 targets in a season as a wide side wide receiver.
We are going to see him run again, actually, at the end of this first cycle. I think there was an issue there, so he
Okay.
will have another run for his first time.
And this is Shea Ross from the University of Manitoba, who made it through with the Western Regional Combine.
Marsh, another guy with a really good vert from yesterday, 38.5
Yeah.
inches. Again, one of the top verts of the day.
He can bounce. From Dakota Collegiate and the Okanagan Sun of the BCFC. And his speed shows through on film. As you can see him burst out of the blocks. This should be a good number.
He seems to move well.
Time is 4.63. 4.63.
Time of 4.63
Yep.
for him.
What a message Keon Julian
Next,
Grant
number
sent.
87, Chris Ozikuzi, wide receiver, Queens.
Chris Osikuzi from Queens. Another guy who's going to have a ton of eyes on him this weekend. Marsh, someone you're, I know, following and have been for a while.
Yep, just over 6 feet tall. Look at Chris Osikusi. What do you think he weighs? If you had to guess. I mean, he is dieseled, but he is cut. He weighs 192 pounds.
I was going to say
He's not
two
even,
something.
He's not
Come
even
on.
200 pounds. He's 192 he measured in at
No way.
the other day.
In fairness, he looks a little leaner when he's standing up.
4.47.
Woo!
4.47.
Time of 4:47.
Chris Osikusi is a first-round pick.
4:47 for Chris Osikusi. You can see he's happy with that, given the fist bump. Marsh, that would be very much in line with what he would be looking for.
I don't know if he's going to be a first-round pick based on team needs and the fact that offensive linemen and defensive linemen seem to be the priority, but coming in, looking like that, jumping the way he has, putting up 19 reps on the bench, running a 4.47, he deserves to be a first-round pick.
This is Malik Richards out of Mount Allison University.
What I love about him is production. 85 catches and 8 touchdowns in the last 2 years. 85 catches, 8 touchdowns. If he played at Western, if he played at Calgary, UBC, we would think the world of Malik Richards. He plays at Mount Allison. Nothing against the Mounties, but the passing offense in the AUS, and specifically at Mount A, has not exactly been at the top of the charts the last couple of years. But a 4.62.
Time of 4.62.
Tag that one on the resume. And again, production, check that box off from Mount A. Now check off the box of the top end speed at a 4.62.
All right, we're starting at the top
He
again.
benched well as well.
Braden Lenius Dickey.
And something interesting here I want to mention as well about Braden Lenius Dickey before he makes his second run is that he actually legally changed his name to Braden Dickey from Braden Lenius when his dad passed away. He is the grandson of Eldridge Dickey, who was also the first black quarterback ever taken in the first round of the NFL draft. He was taken by the Oakland Raiders way back when, and his dad, Troy, passed away, unfortunately, in 2018, which led him to legally change his name to Braden Dickey in honor of his dad.
Time is 4.83. 4.83.
Time of 4.83 for Braden Lenius Dickey.
So a little bit slower than he was his first time, but he can hang his hat on that first number. I believe it was a 4.75 that he came out of the blocks with. And again, based on his height, weight, speed, you look around at the way that he measured in, he is 6'5", 243 pounds, and still running a 4.75. So that is special teams and a big body receiver. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be a tight end. I mean, we don't have a lot of tight ends in the Canadian Football League, of course, but he'll certainly find his fit. Somebody will be lucky to have Braden Dickey.
Here's Curly Gittins Jr. for his second run. We'll see if he's able to beat his speedy fast time.
Yeah, I think he wants to catch Julian Grant.
Time 4.66.
Next, number 82,
So he goes
Colton
4.62,
Munchak.
4.66.
Yeah, time of 4.66 for him.
And he'll stay with that first round of 4.62 as his better of the two performances as we go on to Colton Hunchak, 5'11", 190 from the York Lions.
Time is 4.74. 4.74.
Time of 4.74.
Pretty
For
much
Colton
where you
Hunchak.
expected it, right around that kind of Hunter Carl area. It's got to be a little bit of a tear, I would think, rolling down Warren Craney's eye, though, head coach at York, seeing those big name recruits he got from Alberta starting to make their way through the 4 years that they have playing with the Lions.
Here is Keon Julian Grant from St. FX.
And again, that look he had last time after he ran that 4.49 said, I'm going to run 4.45. As a hush goes over the University of Toronto Varsity Dome. What do we got?
Time is 4.52. 4.52.
4.52.
Which is funny because if you run a 4.52 at any point in this combine,
There would be an applause.
everybody would go crazy. But he runs a 4.49, and we were all waiting for the better of the two. Again, it's 3 100s. Who cares, right? Like it's an inch that he is off from setting a better time, but that's a great performance from him. He certainly needed, I think, that 40 time in order to stay with the Curly Gittins Juniors of the world and Chris Osikusi's, but he's done that now.
Nicola Kalanick from York
Time is
With a time.
5.08. 5.08.
of 5.08.
And again, think of him as being almost like we saw Noah Robinson from Missouri, the long-haired linebacker earlier on. He's in the same mold. He's not going to be expected to catch balls like Curly Gittens Jr. or Chris Osikusi. He's going to be a special teamer. He's going to be a gunner, just like Noah Robinson would be. They might play different positions, so you think of them differently, but really their role on a CFL team is very, very similar.
This is Hunter Carl. This will actually count as his first run that you guys are seeing right now.
I think we should just make him run 80. What do you
Yeah.
say? And just divide by 2 and...
I don't know if that's totally fair.
He's a worker, he'll do it.
No,
Ah, the suspense builds.
the suspense build. He'll have to go back and get set up after a false start.
He actually has a basketball background too, which I find interesting. He has a basketball background. He actually had a redshirt year with the Calgary Dinos men's basketball team, who we all know won the U Sports National Championship last year and were extremely competitive once again this year.
It's not as if it was a team that's
No,
a competitive
like
team to play for.
That's a difficult organization, if you want to call it that, to make your way onto, whether you're a redshirt, a recruit, a walk-on, anything. And you can kind of see that basketball body type in him, but he found a love for football and decided to explore it. But that gives you a sense for the type of athleticism you're talking about. Again, maybe not a top-end 40, but on the field, he's very, very smooth.
4.77. Time is 4.77.
4.77 for Hunter Carl, which will count as his first run.
Now we have number 86, Shai Ross.
This is Shai Ross from Manitoba.
I
Getting
think,
loose, getting warmed up.
I honestly, Brody, I think he's the only person that can chase down Keon Julian Grant from St. FX at this point. I love, by the way, that I'm talking about a Manitoba Bison and a St. FX X-Men trying to track each other down. We got a Queen's Gale coming out of nowhere. We got a Laurier Golden Hawk
You love this
from
group.
the side. If anybody...
Guys, wait for the one-on-ones. Marshall's
just
going to
about to
be
say,
fired up.
If you think I love them now, I've watched a bunch of their games. If you haven't watched a bunch of their games, we're going to give you a crash course in why I love these receivers coming up in the one-on-ones in a little bit.
Time is 4.65.
4.65 for Ross.
Number 87, Chris Ozikusi.
Chris Osikuzi is up next from Queens. As he gets ready for his second run, getting into position.
There was a 4.47 last time through for Osikusi. Man, he's strong.
Time is 4.51. 4.51.
4.51 for Chris Osikuzi.
Number 89, Malik
I think he's
Richards.
going to be in the league for a while. I think he's a name that people are going to get used to hearing from.
We've got Malik Richards from Mount Allison. Marsh, he also seems pretty lanky.
Yeah, he is. He's
Based
again,
on what we've
it's-
seen yesterday and certainly today, even as he gets lined up here and ready to go.
The theme of this group to me is long, athletic,
Strong.
yeah, good top end speed.
Yeah.
Like guys that are just well built, well coached, have spent time, you can tell, in the weight room and training. 4.62 the first time through for Malik Richards. What do we got here on his second run?
Time 4.67.
4.67 for Malik Richards.
Our last runner.
And it's funny because he lets out kind of the laugh there, but it's almost like damn, I didn't get the number I wanted. It's
Right.
also kind of a stress relief.
I was going to say.
It's like, okay, I'm done. Because the thing that I always laugh about is we make such a big deal about the 40-yard dash, rightfully so, because it tells you a little bit about them. It's part of the evaluation. There's so many guys that when they cross the line and they get their final time, the thought goes through their head, I never have to run a
Ever.
40-yard dash again.
Ever.
I'm never going to have to do this again.
It's like that last exam at university, or that last paper.
I think I ran
This
out
is
of my
Hunter
last
Carl.
exam
Yeah.
at McMaster.
This is Hunter Carl.
4.62.
Yeah, 4.62. Hunter Carl, this is his second run. We're getting a chance to see here.
Time 4.71, 4.71.
Oh, good improvement.
4.71.
It was a 4.77 the first time through.
Was able to improve it. All right, we are going to check in with Davis, who has got Chris Osikusi on the sidelines, who is our top runner. Hey, guys.
Thanks, guys. With Chris Osikusi from Queens, 4.47. How did you feel about that run? Were you expecting that time?
Yeah, it felt good. Like during training, I was running times pretty similar to that, so I knew coming out, especially with all the scouts watching, I had to give my best foot forward.
Did you feel a little burst of adrenaline because of all the people out here?
Yeah, definitely. Like this is your dream, right? So you see 9 teams out here watching you, taking notes. You know I want to play at this level, so putting all the time like that, I had to.
What are we going to see from you in the one-on-ones? What to expect in your route running?
I think you're going to see a lot of good things. Like I feel I'm a receiver that can do a lot, whether that's going over the top, whether that's running the slant, catching in traffic. You know, I'm a bigger body receiver, so I'm definitely not afraid to go underneath. I'm definitely not afraid to go over top, so should be some good things for sure.
A lot of people have you in the first round. Chris, should you be the first receiver taken in the draft?
I'd say like whatever team takes me, they're going to get a player that's committed, dedicated, and accountable. So there would be definitely no mistake for a team to take me, and if that's the first receiver in the draft, they'll be satisfied.
Chris Osikusi, back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Davis. All right, that wraps our coverage of the 40 today. We're going to be back with you guys coming up a little bit later this afternoon. General thoughts on this afternoon?
Just the way this group approached the 40-yard dash, the way they've approached the entire weekend, I think is so impressive because you wanted to see top-end speed to just check off that box. I always talk about it. The last 3 years here, I've been fortunate to be able to work with you, Brody, on the combine, is you want to go check, check, check. There's a lot of different things you got to hit. Interviews, bench press, physicality, the way you carry yourself here through the combine. Are you polite to people? Do you run a fast 40? And I think this group, the 40-yard dash, was a home run.
All right, well, we will be back at 12:30 Eastern for one-on-ones on my favorite part of the combine. Make sure you guys tune back in. We'll see you shortly.